good.
There we go. I just got notification. I don't hear the music.
Oh yeah, because I haven't hit play yet. But here. Why did it start off? Oh, the macro was off. It says for 1 minute. All right. Oh, I know why. Okay, never mind.
At least it's giving me time.
I don't know why it's doing that. It's not even taking a full minute. All
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the School Board Report Unsanctioned with Jon and Arguello. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Statewide stuff. We have local stuff. Let's get right into it. Quick prayer, and then we'll get down to business. Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to reach people and speak freely. Due to the Constitution that you inspired, I truly appreciate the fact that we can just talk to people and say the things that we mean. Continue to provide us that watch over this country, watch over our students throughout the state of Florida and our country. Make sure that they're protected from some of the abuses that we've been seeing recently, and help these educators overcome all the challenges that are being placed in their laps right now because of culture, and because of society, and because of our kids, changes in our kids' minds. In your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen. All right. Ton of stuff. Let's begin statewide stuff. We're going to talk about DeSantis here for a second. There's DeSantis passed a whole host of bills that involve education. The first one that we're going to talk about is the union issue, right? This is, for the most part, a conservative show. However, this is not going to be a popular opinion. I don't think that this is a perfect law. I do understand the reasoning. I think that it is, in the end, it's not a bad, but it's also not a good. And in the end, to be a good leader, you have to bring people together, right, and make sure that things are working for everyone. And let me explain to you why it does and why it does not work. So why it does work, right? Well, for one, it weakens the unions at the state level, at the national level, because it's reducing dues, right? Now, one of the things that's bad about it is that it weakens our local unions. And let me explain the difference between these local unions and these state unions and these national unions. So the state union, The national union are cuckoo nuts, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They're nuts. Okay, you have people like Weingarten, who she absolutely was encouraging the destruction of our education system, and now she's lying, saying that she was not in favor of doing all these things. That was very recent, but it's all on TV. And I think in the next show, what we're going to do is kind of wrap up a little compilation of Randy's greatest hits, which show that she had zero interest. She didn't care about our kids. She didn't care about teachers. She certainly did not care about our country. And for her, this was just a manifestation of her power as the union boss, right? Something that nobody's ever heard of and nobody cares about. Here she is, boom, doing this, and the impacts that it had. But the problem is that school districts, we need school unions for certain purposes, right? I disagree that we need a state or national union that we need to be paying dues. I think that DeSantis would have been far better to do the law like you did. That's fine, right? But that each local union can decertify or disassociate itself from the national union. That would have been far more important, because you have people who don't want to be part of the union, right? A lot of these unions are having trouble keeping their membership at the required numbers. And that's because people don't want to be part of the national union. So if these unions have to be part of the national union, it prevents them from organizing, it protects them, it prevents them from protecting themselves effectively. And it just kind of creates a mess. So now we're going to go away from student unions because there's going to be a whole bunch of unions that get decertified because they're just not going to have the membership to survive. But this was just kind of a way. You don't want to attack everyone, right? You don't want to attack the teachers. And I'm going to prove to you tonight that it's not the teachers that are the problem as much as it is the educational leaders. It's the people at the very top who are just out of control, and they go along. And it's not because they want to harm people, it's because they don't have the courage to fight against the people that do want to harm people. And Randy Garden being one of those people that, in my opinion, just completely is responsible for causing severe harm to the schools at our level, right? At the schools where your children go to. So let's talk a little bit about this. So essentially what it is that it's not mandatory, number one, that they take electronic paychecks. So it's not automatic. You have to write a check, or you have to go pay for yourself. And that obviously that creates a barrier. People don't want to see that money. It's much easier for a union to survive it. It goes underneath the table and nobody ever sees it. Well, that's the challenge here, right? So I think it's going to be a big problem when we start trying to create these contracts with our teachers, right? And when teachers are realized that they're being abused, because DeSantis is trying to do two things here, right? He's trying to cut the legs out from underneath the big unions that are causing so many problems for education. But at the same time, he doesn't realize that those unions do provide protection for the teachers. So now how are those teachers going to be protected in the situations where they're falsely accused? So what he did was, in another law, and let me get to my list here. So, for example, lost my place here. Okay, so in Law 1035, right, what it does is it strengthens teachers' hands in maintaining classroom order. So you're in charge. Teachers have always been in charge, right? But now you have the benefit for a teacher. The teacher has the benefit of the doubt when breaking up fights, preventing assaults. It gives them the presumption of acting lawfully. That's a quote from the actual law. It gives them the presumption of acting lawfully. That's really important for teachers. But that's not all. What happens when you have a bad principal, right? So they're going to supersede the presumption that you have. They're going to say that you're bad. Well, the teachers need protections. In the end, what they need access to a legal team. So they need access to a process which provides them with some safety, right? So the union right now, until you have a system that's going to come in and protect teachers at the same level that the union does, then it's kind of tough to break up all these local unions. So it's just me understanding the process. I know how these teachers feel. I speak to teachers on a constant basis, and I know that this is, instead of bringing all the teachers together under a system that they can appreciate, now you're separating teachers even more than before regarding their membership in a union. So and in some cases, you might, because of it, they might be spurring. I know that the unions are putting a whole bunch of effort into growing membership, so it might have had like a reverse reaction where now you wanted to hurt the unions, but now it's helping them because now they're getting an influx of new members. Okay, so let's go. House Bill 379. That allows teachers, this is a big one, right? This is going to be the social media. And here's one thing I don't understand about these laws. I understand the intent, right? But again, unless you're a teacher, you don't really understand how this impacts you in the classroom, how you're dealing, right? Because supposedly, teachers already had the right to control discipline in their classroom. So you already had the right to take away a kid's phone. Right? You already had the right to say, hey, put that phone away or you're going to get a detention. So what does this do exactly? Well, one of the things that it does is that it helps teachers, again, right? Because the point is to help a teacher in a situation where you call a parent, they call somebody else, and that's the problem. Well, it helps them to prevent getting in trouble. It gives them a word, right, or protection against the administration, because you can report your administration if you're being told that you have to violate the state policy which protects your ability as a teacher to do the things that you have to do. So that's a big one. 1537. Oh, wait, we have a video for this. So let's watch this video. It's actually DeSantis who's going to describe this video, describe this social media, the reason that he did this social media bill.
This is focusing on social media and devices in classrooms. And so it gives teachers the authority to establish classroom rules on cell phone and device use during instructional time. I mean, I think that they have every right to say, kids come in, just check your phone at the beginning, at the front of the room, leave it there. Learn, and then grab your phone and then go after that. We don't want the kids on the phone the whole time while the teachers are trying to teach. It's not good for it's rude for the teacher. There's no way you're learning what you need to be learning. And things like social media, it can wait. Honestly, it's not that important to be doing. It's much more important what's going on in the classroom. So we think that that's just common sense. We're also making sure that things like TikTok, which is monitored by the CCP, that's not something that they're being able to use district servers and Wi-Fi to be able to access. So they're not going to be able to do that, and I think that that's going to be something that's really important. So I just think that if we look at our kids, being normal kids, like kids were prior to social media is important. The social media, it has more problems than it solves, and I think it does more harm than good. And so let's have our education system be as much about traditional education as we can. And I think reining in the use of this or having guidelines as the teachers see fit and as the schools see fit, I think is something that's really important. Put those devices down and live life normally. And I think we're going to be so much better off if we go down that direction.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely true, right? I mean, tell the kids to put the phones down. Now, the problem is that we've seen videos, I think in the last Unsanctioned, we may have had videos of teachers getting punched specifically because they took the phone away from their teacher, right? So now, of course, you're breaking up a fight or whatever, but it still doesn't prevent the teacher from getting into a problem once they take that phone, right? I always thought that I could take away a phone from a kid in the classroom. I never thought that that was the issue. So, I mean, the law's not necessarily coming in exactly where it should or ending exactly where it should. So, again, only teachers are going to know these kind of nuances, and it would have been great if maybe he had brought the teachers' unions in and said, listen, you're gonna create this law. How do the teachers need this so that it's actually effective and accomplishes the goal that we want it to accomplish? I think that would have been valuable. And then at the same time, you're creating a relationship with the union that's a little bit different, right? And I would completely bypass the state union and go straight to the county unions where they're not crazy, right? Where they don't care about the politics. They just care about their jobs and being afforded the opportunity for due process and so on. So Okay, so anyways, that's those laws. Anything else that we want to touch on here? 1537, 379. Those are the ones that we just did. Something that may be of interest. Now the legislature, it looks like school board members is down to 8 years. Right? They reduced the term limits, so we'll see how that goes. I'm a fan of term limits. I don't care what your job, what your elected position is. I'm a fan of term limits. That would kind of affects them. And that's it. So let's move on to the next thing. What do we got next, Tom?
We got the teacher out of Spring Hill.
Okay, so listen. Here's this is not every teacher, okay? But and you know what? Even this teacher, I'm gonna have some grace for this teacher here, and here's why. She's absolutely wrong. She sounds like a nutcase when she says what she says. But I'm going to have some grace here. To me, this is exactly a void of leadership. That's the effect of a void of leadership. When you have somebody that doesn't immediately come out and they're not clear about the policy, they're not clear about the direction, they're not clear about what you're allowed to and what you're not allowed to say, when they don't take control of their leadership responsibilities, you have something like this.
I feel that this is a targeted attack. What do you mean when you say that?
That same school board member is currently going around right now trying to, well, along with, the whole, what DeSantis is doing, trying to get rid of all basically diversity elements out of schools completely. Like, they're trying to strip individuality and diversity to fit one common agenda. And it's ruining everything. It's not what America stands for.
I think let's let our viewers listen to what that parent said that complained about you doing this in a recent school board meeting. Here it is.
It is not a teacher's job to impose their beliefs upon a child. Religious, sexual orientation, gender identity, any of the above. But allowing movies such as this assist teachers in opening a door, and please hear me, they assist teachers in opening a door for conversations that have no place in our classrooms.
We had played that for the viewers in the introduction, but I just want to give you a chance to respond.
Yeah, so that's what she's missing, and what these parents are missing is they're not in the school system. That just shows me that she's ignorant and has not come and volunteered at all. Because these conversations, these doors, they're open. These students have one-to-one devices. The amount of things that they're able to pull up that we have to shut down, these conversations, these doors that she's talking about, that's telling me I'm stripping her rights as a parent, those rights are gone when your child's in the public school system, because there are students talking about these things. It's where they get 90% of their socialization for the day. And we can't shut down every conversation every child has.
Thank you for being with us this morning.
This woman needs to be in an asylum. Your rights end when you send your kid to school. No, you know what? That's why all these kids are leaving schools, right? That's why parents are now starting to homeschool their kids again. How crazy? This is the problem. This is a young person, right? This is a young person. She has no idea what the heck she's talking about. She's crazy. She has no idea. She is completely, this is not somebody who should be a superintendent of schools. But she might be in 30 years after she learns something. Right now, she doesn't know anything. Obviously, that's clear. She's a nutcase. This is crazy. Listen, number one, and I can't believe I'm saying this is to that teacher. As a civics teacher, I'm telling you this. Your rights are given to you by God according to the Constitution. Your rights are not given to you by man. You don't surrender your rights at the schoolhouse or in the hospital building or even in the public house. You do not surrender your rights, right? Unless you do something that causes your rights to be taken away from you by a court order. Otherwise, your rights are given to you by God. And certainly your rights to raise your children the way that you believe is not superseded by the right of a superintendent or an administrator or a teacher or anyone. That never happens. So that this person is, this is the example, right? This is an example. This is not all teachers. Teachers know that you don't, because teachers have kids. I bet you that this person does not have kids of her own, right? And that's what it is. When you surrender your child to someone else, really what you're doing is handing over a giant pail of trust. That's what you're doing. And people like this break that trust. There's no reason for it. to me, it's heartbreaking to hear a teacher say that, and it just goes to show the reason why there's a split between teachers and community sometimes is because of the small, tiny percentage of people who are on that fringe and they just don't know what they're talking about, and that's heartbreaking because that causes so much damage, right, to the relationships that are important in education, which is the parent, the teacher, and the student. That's what that does. I mean, it's heartbreaking. What do we got next, Tom?
We got the student.
So here's why I say that I always come back to leadership on this. This is a video of a student, right? This isn't only happening. That happened to have happened in Spring Hill, Florida. Okay, but here's a student out in California, and this is something that I've complained about very shortly after I was elected to the school board. I realized that this is a problem. Let's play this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, and only ladies and gentlemen it is and shall always be. I am an 18-year-old high school student and wanted to take this time to bring to your attention the current issue with biological men claiming they are women and in turn truly believing that they are entitled to use women's spaces. There was an incident within our district that occurred recently regarding a transgender woman who really is a biological man having an altercation with a young woman at MLK High School. It was infuriating when I had seen the video on social media, but what was detrimental to this is the fact that this man is and has been using the women's restroom and locker room. Firstly, the question we must address is why are we affirming the mental confusion of this boy and putting the safety of women in jeopardy by allowing mentally confused men to use the women's spaces? Of course, any male who claims he is a woman will accept it, but what about the women? What about the true girls like myself who are female down to our DNA? Why don't we ever get a say in whether or not we are comfortable with this? The truth is, we aren't. The majority of us aren't, and yet nothing has been done to protect the safety of these women. I will conclude with this. It all starts with you. You are in charge of the safety of us women and the parent and the kids of our parents. So please do something about it. Thank you.
So here's the thing. Eventually, it's going to be the kids that are starting to speak out, and that's what we're seeing now, right? Like that's what it took, was for kids to come out. Now the parents have spoken, some teachers have spoken out. People are getting riled up. The citizen is uprising, but now the students, right? So when the students start coming and speaking before the school boards and the students start realizing this is wrong, it's not helping me, it's the same thing with the whole CRT thing. We saw students coming forward and saying, you know what, this doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't pass the smell test. There's something wrong going on here. And that's what's happening with this. The idea that we're going to let boys play girls' sports, just the idea, not even the reality, the idea that we're going to let boys use girls' bathrooms. I mean, in Florida, according to the education commissioner, we have to send a letter. So if we're going to have like these alternative bathroom policies, we have to send a letter to the parents telling them that that's going to happen. To me, that's not enough. We need to have laws that protect this. No person's mental illness should supersede the safety of my child. I have daughters. I have a bunch of girls. I have 3 girls. And certainly I would not want any of my children, any of my girls to be in danger or to feel not comfortable enough to go to the restroom because a boy might come in there under these ridiculous pretenses. It's just a shame that it's a discussion that we're even having. I don't understand it. It's just craziness. I mean, what's happening to society? Now the kids need to tell you when you're crazy, when the adults are going crazy. It's too much. It's too much. What's next on the docket here?
So we got the middle school teacher.
The middle school dean.
The teacher issues the warning.
Okay, let's do it.
Middle school teachers in California, they're suing their school district, claiming they were required to lie to parents about their children's gender identity. The teachers say a staff presentation said they could, quote, not reveal a student's gender status to those without a legitimate need for information without that student's consent, including parents or caretakers. Joining us now is one of the teachers, Elizabeth Mirabelli, and her attorney, Paul Jana, to join us. Thank you both so much. Elizabeth, let's start with this. You got this from the district. You got this instructive. Don't tell people who aren't necessary, and included in that is parents. What were your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts were that the district, my employer, is violating my constitutional rights, my freedom of religion. They're forcing me under threat of termination to lie to the parents that I serve. And the second is, of course, the free speech piece.
Yeah.
And I was very taken aback.
I want to follow up on that word lie you just used. It's interesting. Clearly it's a lie of omission. They're saying you can't tell the parents if the kid is choosing. Was it also the other kind of lie? Like, if the parent asked you, as your understanding was, what if the parent said, hey, is my kid switching their gender when they get to school? Were you not supposed to respond to that parent?
Right. I was told that to tell the parents that it was outside the context of this meeting.
Wow.
And that I was only allowed to discuss classroom instruction, homework, and assignments.
Paul, you're Elizabeth's attorney. She brings up First Amendment issues. I mean, set aside just how scandalous and ridiculous and immoral it is to say parents don't have a say in their children. There is a constitutional. Elizabeth has a right to speak, right? And her school is standing in the way of her constitutional First Amendment right.
Absolutely. The school is violating the parents' fundamental rights to raise their own kids, but in addition, they're compelling Elizabeth to speak in a way that violates her faith and to express views that she disagrees with, and to deceive parents participating in these students' social transition. And when she's speaking to parents, she's supposed to use the student's legal name, but with the kids, they're supposed to use the preferred name. So it's actively deceiving parents and blatantly unconstitutional. So we're quite confident.
In a way, Paul, that's not just an abridgment. That's forced speech. It's not just what you can't say. They're forcing her to speak in a certain way, which is a lie.
Absolutely, yeah. Compelled speech.
Yeah.
And policies like this have been struck down. So we're quite confident this will be struck down. But we are seeing a proliferation of these policies nationwide, unfortunately.
Right.
So we're hoping to stem the tide with this case.
Here's what the school district is saying. Escondido Union School District. They're saying the district is committed to providing a safe and positive environment that enables our students to learn and actualize their unlimited potential, and that empowers our teachers to excel as educators. As part of that commitment to student learning, the district observes all federal and state laws.
I mean, this is a dystopian fiction book that we're living in regarding education. You wonder why our kids can't read. Our kids are not dumber. The system has gotten dumber. The system has gotten more immature. It's gotten more dumb. It's gotten more ridiculous. It's gotten more dramatic. It's gotten more false. Right? It's a facade. It's not delivering education anymore. Now it's something completely different. It's something completely different. This is not about education. It wasn't like going to a one-room schoolhouse. You learn math. You learn how to spell. You know how to write and read. It's none of that. This is not even evolved from the same species any longer. Now this is a battlefield. It's a battlefield of thought. Either you agree with the principles of this agenda group of people, or you're a coward and you don't speak up against it. Those are the two people in charge of school districts now, right? The people who are afraid to speak and say enough is enough, and the people who are driving that agenda. And the people driving the agenda are a much smaller group. By and large, these superintendents, these senior education, executive level education people, they're not bad people. They're just like, I'm the one that's going to speak up. I'm just one guy. I'm just one woman. What am I going to do, right? But yeah, it's you that one person, because you inspire someone else, and then someone else, and then all of a sudden we're taking education back from these crazy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs people who have taken over education. And it's time that we do that. Every education leader, I challenge you, I challenge every education leader. Parents, if you're watching, go challenge every education leader to do the right thing and to step up and to speak out against this craziness, this madness. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian or whatever you are. We should not be entertaining crazy at schools. We need to get this system, this delivery of education system back under control so that it's fulfilling its purpose. Right now, it's not fulfilling its purpose at all, not even remotely. And it's a shame because our kids are lost, you know, and here we have another example, right, of just craziness in school. And you understand this is a small percentage. Why are we showing you these examples? Because we want you to know that there's actual specific people who are doing this. It's not a conspiracy theory, right? When I first got elected to the school board, everyone was like, oh, you're conspiracy theories. Really? I think that later on in the show, when we talk about Celebration High School, you're going to realize there's no conspiracy theory, because a year and a half ago, I was screaming from the hilltops saying that this is happening. And now just finally, right, you're coming to see, you're seeing that these things are coming out into the mist, right? They're coming out into the open. They're being exposed. It's the same with Jackie Espinosa's county commission race, right? Where we have somebody who's being paid and then they get arrested and all this stuff. And then people dropping like flies, resigning from positions. All this stuff is happening, right? And it's all things that we should have seen, right? Because if all the conspiracy theory people are wrong, nothing would be changing, right? But it is. People are awakening. People are seeing it. You're seeing it yourselves as a parent. Let's roll the next video, Tom.
The dean of a St. Cloud elementary school off the job after members of the community uncovered these TikTok videos.
Yeah, now he's fighting to get his job back over these videos with his tongue sticking out. Channel 9's Nick Pampantonis live at Creative Inspiration Journey Charter School where the dean worked. And Nick, he's been messaging with you, in fact, even live on TV during the 4 o'clock news about those videos.
Yeah, he says this issue has been blown out of proportion. He says he's not guilty of any sort of threat to children. It's just not deleting his account when he got the job. Daniel Rionda's TikTok account has videos of his tongue sticking out and twerking with a woman. He posted them years ago and calls them immature but not harmful. Parents see it another way.
They're pretty disturbing, so they speak for themselves.
Creative Inspiration Journey Charter School fired Rionda Monday after his students and their parents found the videos, causing a stir online and lots of accusations about child safety to be voiced. The school said the former dean's effort to make the videos private came too late.
You hear about it, but then when it's happening to your kids, so I didn't really know what to do at first. That's a huge deal.
Rionda defended himself to the parent group first and then to us, saying in a message, I am guilty of not deleting my social media when I received a position at the school, and that is the only thing I am guilty of, and I am suffering the consequence of that. The harassment and slander I have received has reached unfathomable levels.
As someone in education, you should automatically know that kids are going to find you. They're going to find your social media. The whole thing.
We are expecting to meet with him in just a few minutes from now to hear his side of the story officially. He's seeking a wrongful termination attorney to defend him. Live in Osceola County.
Look, everyone deserves a vigorous defense. I think that, that's part of the staple of our United States system. This would be a purely civil issue. It's not a criminal issue. When you're a teacher, you serve at the pleasure of the community that you serve. All right, that's the bottom line. When you're a principal, when you are a superintendent, when you are a public official that is not elected, you serve at the pleasure of the community that you serve. When you're an elected official, you serve at the pleasure of the voters, right? You can't argue with that. So if the community is like up in arms because this guy has a bunch of dumb videos in TikTok, I'm not even the judge. I never saw them. I had a whole bunch of parents send them to me and whatever. I only saw like the very beginning, whatever. I didn't even look. I saw it was a charter school. I thanked God that it wasn't one of our schools because we can't handle any more controversy in Osceola County. But we have to understand that when you're a principal, we don't want these people as principals. There's no other way to put it, right? I mean, listen, young man, you have a career ahead of you. You'll bounce back from this. You'll get smarter. You're not going to post, videos of you looking like an idiot anymore at some point in the future, and you'll bounce back. But here's the thing. I'll tell you the most disturbing thing about this. I had parents reach out to me right? And they were sending me the texts that he was sending parents in his own defense, but they were brutal. They were brutal. They were calling names. It was being very offensive towards the parent who's calling you out. Well, you can't do that, right? In the end, that's not about service. So I don't feel bad for you when a public official, when a leader of a community, even as of a small community like a school, when you forget that you're there to serve the people, then I don't feel sorry for you when you get your butt handed to you and you get thrown out the door, because you should expect that. Your job is to serve, and you cannot serve, and you serve by being the guy that washes the feet, okay? If you're not the guy that washes the feet, and you're the one that's always sitting back watching everybody else do everything important, and you just get a big paycheck, and then you think that it's, your ego feels good that day, that's not a good principle anyways. You had a lot to learn. You should probably thank your lucky stars that this happened now, not later in your career. This is ridiculous. I wouldn't be fighting it. What I would have been doing is sending out an apology saying, listen, I did this when I was younger. Okay, I was young, I was immature, I apologize. I should have never put that on there, because in the end, I should have been mature enough to know that at some point in the future, this was going to come back to me, right? The other thing is, you're saying, oh, there's nothing wrong. In our human resources book, the number one thing to hiring somebody is moral character, high moral character. So you should be demonstrating that, right? We all fall short. I'm not judging anybody. We all fall short. But at least you can't act like you didn't do anything wrong. That reminds me of somebody that you and I know very well, who, she never admits to doing anything wrong. Everything is always great. She constantly pats herself on her back. You're looking at me kind of confused, because there's so many people in this county that actually do this that I could be referring to. That's probably a good thing that I'm mentioning one. You got to be humble. You have to take a humble approach. When you get caught doing something stupid, you should always just apologize first. People appreciate it and do it genuinely, and that's a much better way to go. So, but there's nothing political about that entire exchange. It's just a demonstration that is the behavior that our kids are starting to show. And if our kids are showing that behavior and we don't like it, then when we complain, you're going to start to see eventually us get rid of all the people that are causing that behavior in our kids. And you're one of the first victims of that, is what it comes down to. Let's move on to the next thing. This is
school board meeting.
Okay, school board report. Now we're going to get hot and heavy into the school board meeting. This has been my goodness, what a school board meeting this was. Of course, there's parents there. There's the mainstay parents there. I can't tell you guys, if you went to the school board meeting, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you guys go to these things, that you're paying attention. When I feel exasperated by the process and by these meetings, at least I can talk to you and say, what did you guys think? And they're like, you know what? I can't believe that they would even do that. What are they thinking? And then you guys ask me questions. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know. What could they think, And then more than anything, people tell me about the remorse. I have tons of people that tell me about the remorse that they have and the behaviors of two of our school board members, newly elected school board members, right? Nobody tells me buyer remorse for Teresa Castillo. Everybody knew what they were getting. But Erica Booth and Heather Cahoon, there's a ton of buyer's remorse there, right? Especially teachers who thought that they were going to come out and be supportive of teachers, even though we all knew what was going to happen. So anyways, let me go quickly. Okay, so number one, very early in the meeting during presentations, they had a Cognia accreditation, which is basically we're accredited as a school district. But when you look through this packet, I wish I brought it with me, the number one thing was all diversity, inclusion, and equity. And I was like, are you kidding? How can that be the first thing? That's why our grades suck, and you're in here acting like we have a big achievement, even though we have 50% proficiency on our best day? No, the number one standard should be academic performance. That should be the number one. What is your academic? Here's your standards. Academic success across all platforms, right? Academic growth across all demographics. Academic growth of all grades. It should be like academic. Nobody cares about diversity if you're screwing everybody over by giving them a terrible education. What we care about is giving all the kids a good education. When you lower the bar, right? So much that everyone can meet it. You're not doing anybody any favors. It doesn't matter what their background is. It doesn't matter how poor a kid can be. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what language they speak. When you're giving us a bad education, it's not good for anyone, and that's what our district is doing. It's absolutely heartbreaking that that's the case, but it's the case. So we got our accreditation. They acted like it was a big deal. Nothing. It was a show. Look through the standards of Cognia and tell me if you're proud that we're accredited by that organization. You know, if we're accredited, I'd hate to see they were talking about what a good school means is to get this accreditation. What does a bad district look like? What does a bad district look like? What do the proficiency rates have to be? How low do they have to be in order for you not to get accreditation, right? And this whole equity, diversity, you know, like people are like, oh, you know, equity, diversity. Listen, if you're telling me that you like equity and diversity and inclusion in your mission statement and the things that you say that you believe in, but then when it comes down to doing like a minority business enterprise or you're hiring minority businesses and whatever, you're giving everybody a fair shot, then it's no good, then you're a liar. You're one of these liberal elitists who tell me like, oh, you listen, John, you're just not smart enough. So let me tell you how you should raise your kids. You should raise your kids the way I think you should. Forget your generations of history and culture and whatever, and where you came from and whatever, and your religion. Forget all that. I'm your savior. Let me tell you exactly how you should raise your kids. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're just saying that they're so much better, so much smarter, that we should never listen to what our own instincts tell us. We should only listen to what these elitist people think. And that to me is grotesque. It's an aristocracy, a nobility. It's, you know, I didn't watch King Charles, whatever the hell he is. I didn't watch him I didn't watch his coronation, but I saw the pictures and it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. There's only one crown, and it's a crown of thorns. All other crowns are false, and I hate it when people come here, they think that they're so smart and they're going to tell me how to raise my family and my kids and be a good citizen, but yet they don't like to do any of the things that they say. It's a farce. So that Cognia accreditation, forget it. Good. Hey, here's some good. Right, our kids went to Rally to Tally, and they did this whole thing about, and this, you know what's funny? All of those kids, the vast majority of those kids were kids of color, right? Like they were all lined up and they were almost all Hispanic kids. They were all ELL kids. I think there were some kids that were not Hispanic but were also ELL. And here they go, and they're learning to be good citizens through this organization. It was a lady named Betsy at the district. What a great job. I'm talking about like a dozen kids or 24 kids going to Tallahassee and learning how to be good citizens. That plays my heartstrings right there. That was great. There were some appointments that didn't make sense. You know, when we talk about leadership, this is what I'm talking about. We have a school that's in desperate need for leadership. It has a whole fresh new team, cadre of administration, and they just took one administrative person out, and it was because they weren't allowed to have this one because of the enrollment. The enrollment's falling because there's no leadership there. The enrollment's falling because you're doing a terrible job at this school. And so you take out more leaders, and then what? The teachers are leaving in droves from that school as well. They're causing a catastrophe. They're causing a catastrophe at a school. I'll talk about it in the next school board meeting. And it's it's like they're stabbing themselves at this school, and I just don't understand. And really, the knife is being driven by the superintendent because I'm not even an education person. I don't have a background in education. I'm not some education leader, right? I don't have a doctorate in education. I don't have a master's in education. I don't have any of that. I have a JD. It has nothing to do with education. But even I, a lay person, can understand that these are terrible decisions, tactical decisions, strategic decisions that are just horrendous. They're never going to make happen what you want to happen at the school. Unless what you want to happen to the school is for it to become an F school at some point and the state to come in and take it over. If that's what you want, you're doing a phenomenal job. Carnegie Learning, Gaggle. Let me talk about this. So there's this software called Gaggle, and I'm just going to make a quick point about this. We have a software, and this software is supposed to basically filter out and capture things that cause harm to students, self-harm or bullying harm from one to the other, or sexual content and all this stuff. But if they use this software, right, and they were to go through our library, if you could go and you could scan through our libraries all the books, that software would be like ping, 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 ping. It would be ringing bells. It would be like a 5-alarm fire, because our own libraries, and to that point, right now, Assassination Classroom, right, was approved by a specific high school. So we challenged it. It went to the school review. The school reviewed it, and this is a book I showed you a couple shows ago, where they have pictures of kids who their entire intent, they're all holding guns in the picture, and they're killing a teacher. All right, now, and the teacher's an alien, I get it, yeah, whatever. But here's the thing, and I said it back then, I thought all my teachers were aliens when I was in high school. You know, never did I consider killing them. But here we are in the day and age where we know we have violence, right? They want to do gun control, but they don't want to control a book. It's so much easier to control controlling access to content in a school in which we control the content is so much easier than taking someone's rights away. I mean, how do you not see that, right? You start here, right? If you're bleeding, like they tell you, like in combat lifesaver school in the Army, they teach you, you're going to take care of these things according to their severity. Our rights cannot be taken away, right? So you don't worry about that one. Worry about the things that you can cure, and you can cure the content that is in our schools. But our district, they fail to. It's a big farce of some committee and whatever. But the attorney already said at the very initial meetings that the superintendent could, on her whim, take out a book, and she had the authority to remove a book that she thought was inappropriate. But our superintendent loves these books. She loves these books. She, as far as I know, the only one that she's ever asked to be removed was Genderqueer. I don't know what about that book she didn't like, but there's others that are just as severe. There's others that provide just as little educational value. But why doesn't she take the leadership? I don't understand that. She just lack of initiative. But it's very clear that the community doesn't want these books. There are some crazies, in my opinion, that want these books in our schools. But it's never somebody that you would trust your kid with, in my opinion. So anyway, that's the gaggle thing. Osceola Arts, let's talk a little bit about Osceola Arts. So we have a video for this, right? Let's play this video here. Now, let me give you some background information. Our relationship with Osceola Arts last year, okay, prior to this contract, we had a contract with them where we paid them $42,000, about, I don't remember exactly, $42,700 is coming to my mind. I don't remember the exact amount. And this was some kind of partnership or whatever. And of course, our county commissioner, Brandon Arrington, is the president or CEO or the grand poobah of the Osceola Arts, right? But this is what we do for elected officials in Osceola County. Once you get elected to office, if you play the game and you do what you're told, right, then normally you get rewarded with a big job earning 6 figures and this support to whatever that you never have to do. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to have talent. You don't need any of these things. All you need to do is elected and you get a big payday, 6 figures, where they put you in an organization. Another one, Fred Hawkins, who is on his way out the door, he got this job. I said I would only say good things about Fred Hawkins until he actually got the job somewhere else. But he got that job at the Education Foundation, and he gets paid $100,000 a year plus to be the president of the Education Foundation. Come on. These guys they're not there because they're so talented in their jobs, or they're the right guy for the job. They're there because of their positions, right? It's just like if you hired me to be the CEO and president of the Accountants Association of Osceola County, probably not a good pick. That's not me. I'm not a finance guy. Okay, I understand finances, but I'm not a good finance guy. I make more typos than I spell words correctly. You don't want me overseeing the details of your finances. Okay, but if I ever get that job, I sold out. So anyways, you have all these people getting these jobs. Brandon Arrington has this job, Osceola Arts. They bought that building for $10, I think. Okay? So this is a big building. That was a taxpayer building that they sold to Brandon Arrington and this organization for $10. And now he gets paid, I think he gets paid $110,000 a year there.
I think it's more.
Huh?
I think it's more.
It may be more now. I thought it was $110,000. I think he got a raise. So they wanted to give him now, instead of $40,000, They wanted to give him $177,000 to the county commissioner. It's probably so that they can put his name in neon lights above the building shining all day. And then the county, right? Experience Kissimmee via pass-through, through the pass-through at the county commission is giving him $177,000. So he's getting, $222,000. He's getting $177,000 from the school district. He's getting $222,000 from the county commission via Kissimmee, Experience Kissimmee. Now, come on, man. Come on. What is next? I'm going to start, hey, listen, for $500,000, Tom, I'm going to sell out tomorrow. I'm going to reach out to the powers that be and just sell out and say, hey, listen now, you can buy my vote, $500,000, give me an organization. Oh, they already tried to do that once, actually. So anyways, let's move on to the next thing. Or let's play this video. Yeah, let's play this video. Here's my big beef about it at the county, at the school district. So this is Osceola County Arts. I'm all for the arts program. In fact, I have a child who participated in this a couple of years ago. However, this is... we're just giving money to politicians here at this point. Yep. This is $177,000 to Brandon Arrington's organization, our county commissioner. There's no reporting mechanism as far as I know. He just received another $222,000 from the county from Experience Kissimmee by a pass-through through the county. Why aren't we just doing this on our own? Why would we be giving his organization almost $200,000? We're giving county commissioners millions of dollars to build football fields and so on and so forth. I mean, now I make a comment about the football field, right? Basically, we're giving. We're going to spend They just tried to put another $50,000 onto a contract for a football field. That Ricky Booth is going to put his big name on. I mean,
work in the summer, and Osceola Arts has historically done summer camps, just like you said your daughter participated in. This year, because of the art summer learning component that will allow for both enrichment and remediation.
Julius gets her. He beat me to the punch. It makes me really upset.
Which we've described to the board in depth. We're still doing the START program in partnership with the Juilliard Group and our third grade reading camps are going on, our credit recovery labs. This would allow Osceola Arts to expand services to students and allow us.
Why can't they do it on their own? Why do we have to pay for it?
To participate in these programs. Osceola Arts is committed to doing 2 satellite locations, one at the Poinciana campus of Valencia and one at the Lake Nona campus of Valencia.
Did they put out a bid so that other people can offer the same services for $177,000? They did not.
To be a part of this program.
Thank you. Mr. Melendez, you also pulled this item.
Here's the good, I hate it when Julia says something smart.
I actually agree with Mr. Arguello.
That's probably the smartest thing he said all night.
But the second part of that argument, this is something where summer programs, I know a lot of teachers love to get extra money and they like to make extra cash. And so to be able to hire someone else to teach our students, we have excellent
Hey, pause it there. Actually, I'll just talk over him.
We just recognize.
She didn't ask other teachers. She didn't ask. That's why I was like itching. I was itching to push that button and say, because Pace mentions it. Oh, our teachers, our teachers don't want to work. Are you kidding? Teachers are always looking to make extra money during the summer. What do you think that they do? They're not bears. They don't hibernate during the summer. They want jobs. You don't think that art teachers would rather be teaching art instead of working at Publix, bagging groceries for the summer? Come on. Of course they would love to do this. Better yet, if you give them $177,000, I would trust my teachers to create a program of art for they'd all come. They would probably volunteer their time. They'd take less money to volunteer and create a program. Give them the $500,000 that they're getting at the county. And give the district. Why give it to a county commissioner? Give it to the district and let the district make use of that money. Let the district create those programs. Let our teachers benefit from that. Our teachers and our students.
So with that, I can't support something like this where we're not giving our teachers.
I think he did vote for it, didn't he? Anyways,
money.
I don't remember.
Excellent at teaching that. And with that, I can in good conscience say, okay, I'm going to subvert my teachers in making extra cash and giving it to a third-party provider. regardless of how good they are, they can be the greatest, thing there. It's just a matter of principle. I have to give my teachers that ability to make more money, and especially when we're allocating it for a specific function.
Thank you, Mr. Melendez. Mr. Arguello?
Yeah, the idea that our teachers don't want to make extra money during the summer is the craziest thing I've heard probably in 2 years.
I've heard a lot of crazy things, but that probably was the craziest. The teachers don't want to make more money.
Wanting to do this, that's ridiculous. But here's the thing. It's not just about the opportunity for our teachers. It's not just about the student enrichment. That's not our job necessarily. Our job is oversight as school board members.
Now, here's why I'm saying
oversight.
it's not our job.
Conspiracy theories.
Okay, we don't. That's Dr. Pace's job.
Okay?
We're getting into what Julie says is getting into Dr. Pace's job, right? So we can tell her, no, that's not true. Teachers, you're going to find teachers that want to do this. Our job is oversight, and basically these like sweetheart deals that we give politicians, that's our job, that's oversight, right? That's we're supposed to prevent things like that.
And we're just giving away cash.
So they think I'm being like, oh, you're being just mean, Arguello. No, I'm not. I'm actually doing my job according to the Constitution of the state of Florida. Everyone else is being malfeasant.
Somebody make some more money. He got $222,000 from Osceola County by a pastor through Experience Kissimmee. He's getting $177,000 from us. That's not coincidence. That's not coincidence at all.
Thank you, Mr. Arguello. Ms. Cahan, excuse me.
I do have a question. Is there any way to verify if any of our teachers are actually hired through Osceola Arts for these programs? I know my kids have participated in the Toho Water summer camps, and we have our own teachers that are camp counselors in that. So they, are working with other entities.
I'd be happy to do additional research and potentially bring this back if the board needs us.
Do the research.
I motion to table it and get some more information.
Sorry, Brandon.
No.
So I don't remember exactly. There was one issue where Julius was like, well, would you agree to this? And I was like, no, I want to find out. And then he was like, oh, well, in that case, I'm going to vote against you. So it was like he says all these things and then he votes for it anyways because he's just being silly. It's the least... It's crazy, but so look, the fact that you're a county commissioner should bar you from doing a business that benefits from the county commission. He shouldn't be getting money from the county commission or Experience Kissimmee. You shouldn't be using, but that's what we do in Osceola County. We're the most corrupt county in the entire state of Florida, and I say that for a reason. Where does that? In what? It hurts my brain, okay, to realize when I say things like our county commissioner shouldn't be making money off of the county commission in the school district, and then I look over at our superintendent and she's just like blink, 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 blink. I'm like, give me a reaction. Say something. When I'm like, if I'm like, hey, we should not name a football field after your cousin, Dr. Pace. Blink, blink, no reaction. I'm like, come on, say something. Say something. Fight for it. If you believe that it's okay, then fight for it at least. But no one does because they know it's a scam and they just have to take it. Okay, this guy's gonna say what we don't want people to say out loud. We're just gonna hear it and then let it happen. And I guess and nobody would ever say that before, so everybody's all offended that I will say these things, But I mean, somebody has to say it on behalf of the public. Someone has to say it. Let's move on to the next thing. What's the next thing in the school?
You want to talk about Celebration High?
Okay, so Celebration High. Let's talk about Celebration High School. Okay, so Celebration High School, recently there was a teacher that was arrested. They were arrested for some kind of sexual misconduct. I'm not going to go into details. I'm not going to talk about how I would vote on these things. I'm just going to give you some kind of an overview. So a teacher was arrested for some kind of sexual misconduct with students. The allegation, which has all been in the news, is that this teacher was asking for pictures of nude girls and that he was using his position of authority to make them feel like they had to do it. Horrible. Nightmare type stuff. Okay, so I heard through the grapevine that there was that there was a warrant, right, being executed at the school, right? And then I heard another little birdie tweeted out that that someone had removed a folder from a desk that had evidence in it that's of importance to this case. And they got caught, right? And so what's happening with that, right? That's my question. And then on the other side, apparently, again, a little birdie came and whispered in my ear that someone potentially on the administrative team had a folder full of stuff that implicated people in sexual abuse of a sexual nature, and none of them were acted on. They were not acted on. You know that we're mandatory reporters in education. The minute that something happens, you have to report it. You can't wait, not even 24 hours. You can get in trouble if you wait 24 hours. You have to report it immediately. And apparently there's a folder that has this stuff and evidence, and nobody's doing anything about it. And why is there nobody doing anything about it? Well, that's a good question. Why would nobody? So anyway, so I sent out, after I heard little birdies came tweeted, I sent out an email, and I just said, Dr. Pace, anybody can do a public record request and find this. Dr. Pace, is there any evidence or do you have any knowledge that the principal or any member of the administration at CHS had any knowledge or awareness of misconduct complaints that the sheriff is going to find? At any point did any school or district employee attempt to remove or molest any evidence in regards to the sexual misconduct investigations by the sheriff or allegations made by any student? Now, another birdie was whispering and telling me, and I don't know if this is true, that the sheriff was trying to keep this all on the down low and kind of cover it up, right? But obviously this is a big deal. You mess with kids, people come out, right? People, fires start getting set over this kind of thing. No answer. Right? No answer. So 24 hours later, right? I send again, Dr. Pace, I'd like an answer to the below. Okay, fine. So then, finally, in response to that email, I received the following email, and it was about several hours after I sent that email. This is kind of, my email's kind of all messed up here. They're stating, not several hours. So anyways, in response to that email that I said, hey, I'd like an answer to this, this is what I get back. Board members, again, you can all have access to this via a public records request. I am writing this to all of you in response to board member Arguello's email that I was copied on. First thing this morning, I learned from law enforcement that there was an employee at Celebration High School who allegedly engaged in removing a file at the request of the person who had been arrested. Okay, I then immediately advised Dr. Pace of the information I learned and advised that I would be informing the board. I am staying in contact with law enforcement and awaiting the conclusion of their investigation to commence a thorough investigation by me. That said, it is my intention to recommend action to be taken on the employee referred above. But I am making no recommendation or taking steps so as to avoid negatively impacting the criminal investigation. I would ask that you not respond to this email to avoid any sunshine issues. Please call me should you have any questions or whatever. Okay, so when we were having our conversation at the school board meeting last night, I kept trying to ask, tell me information. What happened? What happened? What can you say? As an attorney, you can say, listen, this is what I can say, and this is what I cannot say. I can tell you this, I cannot tell you this. I can tell you this, but I can not tell the public this. This needs to be told in a secret session of the school district or whatever. But no, we're just like octopus throwing hands and tentacles everywhere and trying to take your attention off, like if he's a magician trying to hide the little red ball or something. We have video of this. Let's watch this.
So this is our approval of the instructional annual contract recommendations. Are the people who are under investigation at Celebration on this list?
As of right now, the Sheriff's Department has not identified anybody under investigation and said this one or that one. We know they've interviewed a slew of people, but nobody's been told to us that they're under investigation.
So did the sheriff's office serve a warrant on Celebration?
They served a warrant, executed a warrant on Celebration, but they have not identified anybody that they are criminally investigating, John. I've been tracking this very close.
You're tracking it very close. I appreciate that because I haven't gotten very close updates on this issue, which I've been asking about.
So
we have
let me
warrant,
put this out
we have
there.
a warrant that's
Why do
that's
I, as
executed
a
at
school
Celebration
board
High
member,
School
need to send an
in
email
regards to
requesting
the
information on
entire
this
sexual
happening?
abuse thing that happened
Why?
there? Somebody got arrested.
Why do I
wherever.
have to ask for that?
So you have no idea who it involves?
No, we don't.
Because you told us that there was someone. You told us it was...
Stop. It was someone we were alerted to that was reported, that removed a file. We have begun the investigation into that already, okay?
Okay, so is that
Other than
person on this list?
I can't tell you whether the person's on the list.
I mean, we don't know. This person may be under investigation for hiding evidence regarding sexual abuse, and we don't know.
I can tell you right now, they are not under investigation for that, and they were not hiding evidence. So I'm not going to go into anything.
How do you know? It's under investigation. How do
Okay,
you
so
know?
you don't know
what
them. I
is
thought you
definite?
didn't know.
No. I told you I don't know about anybody under criminal investigation. We don't. I do know about the person who removed the file. I personally interviewed
He removed
that
the
person
file, but he's not
because
under
my
investigation?
case Relieved him of duty so that I could do that.
So they're
Then he
removed-
advises them to
they're
be
on this
removed
list.
from duty.
They are not on this list. They're not in.
They are not on this list, Dr. Pace says. So Dr. Pace knows who this is, but the attorney does not know who it is?
Okay, so there's only one person involved in that entire
John,
situation.
you're twisting words.
I'm twisting
asking
words.
a question. That's not twisting words.
No, I've said it to
The
you
problem
already.
is that you came here prepared to be evasive.
John, no, I didn't. Don't you ever accuse me of that.
You're being evasive.
I'm not being evasive.
You're
What I
evasive.
told you.
Come on.
What I told you, John, quit twisting words.
Shut up,
We
Julius.
don't know who is under criminal investigation, and you keep trying to say there is one.
I'm not. I'm
We don't
asking
know.
you a question, and you should know as an attorney, number one, exactly what the situation is going
do.
on. Okay, so can you explain exactly what's going on regarding that situation?
Yes.
To me, because here's the thing.
I'll say it again.
Because I sent an email, push your button. I sent an email, and I requested information regarding the situation. I have not been provided with an explanation exactly to what's going on. That, to me, is far more important than all the BS that goes on at this district, that we have somebody that may have potentially hidden some evidence regarding some sexual abuse of a student. That, to me, is something worth discussing. I know that nobody here likes
Let me
talking
pause
about
that for a
kind of
second.
stuff. So ask...
I don't think that can be said enough. There's potentially evidence that an employee of the district was hiding evidence, okay, involved or revolving around the arrest of another employee for sexual misconduct with a student. And these guys are acting like it's no big deal. And they won't even give a clear answer to the public. Are our kids in danger? Is this employee still at the district? Are they still at the school? Don't you think that we should know that? That's important information. Would you not agree? I mean, I wouldn't put I would withdraw. If you're a parent and you have your kid in Celebration High School, don't you think it's fair for you to know whether there's someone who was trying to find or trying to hide evidence of a sexual abuse at your child's school? Don't you think don't you think it's information that is important for you to have as to whether or not that person is still there at the school right now as we speak? That's not important information. Why are they trying to fog up the room and make it all mysterious? No, listen, they executed a warrant. 2 people have been implicated. Both of those people are not at the school site right now. They are on administrative leave, or this is the situation, or right now. You know what, Arguello, let's do this. Let's have a school board executive session so that we can discuss exactly what the details is, so that the school board together can decide how they want to approach this. That would be appropriate even. But to say, you know what, we can't, I'm not going to tell you, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wave my arms around, and I'm going to act like a big whatever, trying to hide, the truth so that nobody can decipher what I'm saying at this meeting, so that nobody knows whether our kids are safe at Celebration High School or not. My kids went to I have kids that graduated from Celebration High School. If this happened when my kids were there, I got to shake the hand of my son, right, of my nephew. Are you really going to tell me that it's not in the best interest of the school district to tell parents what the situation is? Why are we hesitating on that? I don't understand. Continue playing it, please.
A question is not twisting your words. Be prepared to come here.
I
Maybe
am
not with everyone
prepared.
else
Ask
here.
the question.
Then be prepared to provide the information
Then
that I've
ask
been
the
emailing you
question.
for 2 weeks.
Dr. Pace asked me, and I told her exactly what to respond, and
She is
told
not
me
a
she
board member.
responded.
She is not a board member.
You asked,
okay?
the email went to her and me.
Yes.
And she told me she would respond.
Okay, well, where's
No
the
response
at this
still.
point? Are you the attorney?
No response still. As a matter of fact, I'm right now.
I'm going to say it again. There is a criminal investigation underway at Celebration High School.
So there is a criminal investigation.
Yes.
Oh.
All right?
You just said that there was not.
John, read the emails I sent the board.
I have
But what
another
he
board
just
member.
said.
I'm sorry, I'm not done. He's answering a
We
question.
have our timer.
He's answering a
What a
question. That's not my
joke!
time.
This woman's worried about
Members
that
of the board,
3-minute
if you
timer.
recall, I've
We're
sent, I
talking
think,
about there
couple,
being evidence
2 or
of
3
somebody
emails
trying
to
to
the
hide
full board
evidence
telling
of
them
someone.
what's
There
been
was a
going on.
warrant
Am I
executed
correct?
at the school,
All right,
and
that
this woman's
email
worried
was
about a
in response to
3-minute
my
timer on this.
request for
They don't have any
information.
questions of their own.
Arguello
Erica
was
Booth
following
and
the last
Heather
board meeting.
Cahoon, they don't ask a single question about whether or not we have someone at Celebration High School who was trying to hide evidence of a sexual abuse, and that there might be another person involved, implicated in a situation where they were hiding evidence of other sexual abuses. And nobody has a question. No one cares. Erica Booth doesn't open her mouth. Heather Cahoon does not open her mouth. And this little, whatever that thing is to my right, opens his mouth to say, guys, don't argue. Well, keep it calm or lower. What is he talking about? He's not asking a question. I have 3 girls. If someone's performing a sexual abuse on girls at a school that my child is in, you're damn right I'm going to try to find out the truth. You're damn right I'm going to not let them hide behind some BS. I'm not going to allow a lawyer to overspeak and try to hide it and wave his arms around and act like he doesn't understand my question. Right? So at points he says there's no criminal investigation. Then he says there is a criminal investigation. Then he says then they say that the person's not on the list. Then they say that the person is not. They don't know who the person is. I mean, come on. Osceola, can you really? I mean, how long are you guys going to tolerate this? How long are you going to tolerate this? I don't understand how you could even consider talk. If I was a parent at Celebration High School, I would be at the school district central office with torches and pitchforks trying to get an answer on whether or not there's somebody who tried to hide evidence of a sexual abuse at a school. Keep playing it.
John.
Really?
I told the board.
Unfortunately for you, Frank, there's a written record of exactly that process.
Good. John, I sent 3 emails. All right?
I only have one.
Let's go a step further. There's a criminal investigation. We have not been told who is being investigated, if anyone's being investigated, or what is the content of that investigation. At this time.
So based on that answer, we have a person who is under criminal investigation, according to our attorney, and that person, the attorney just said that this person is under a criminal investigation, and you just said that person went back based on the attorney's recommendation. Is that not correct?
Members of the board, let me say this real clearly. Thank you. Because you keep changing it. There's a criminal investigation. They haven't told us the name of anybody that they are investigating, or if they are investigating anybody. We just know there's a criminal investigation underway.
Very good.
They've been let me finish. They've been very closed mouth about it. We learned about an employee who allegedly removed
this
the
is for the
file,
benefit of the
and
district.
we immediately
This is for the
looked into
benefit of political relationships. That's
we
why
are
they're being
waiting
closed
for a
mouthed about
return
it.
call. I've called multiple times.
They either
from
found the evidence or they did not.
Sergeant Rios, from the ranking supervisor, to talk about what I've been told, and does that correspond to what they know? Right? And that's where we are as of right now.
Okay, so there's 2 people that involved. That's not just one. Now there's 2 people, right? There is a criminal investigation. There's another investigation which is not criminal. Is that what you're saying?
No.
So there's only one person at hand. There's only one person involved.
No, John.
Point of order, this is about the employee instructional room.
What an idiot. So listen to this.
We can identify whether the person is on this
Julie's
list, which is
one.
what my
We're
question
talking
is.
about somebody hiding evidence for a sexual assault, and this moron says, point of order, this is about this. He has no interest in protecting kids.
Point of order doesn't
Sorry,
require
question,
that.
point of
Point of
order.
order does not require that.
We have the question that was asked, the information
No,
that
so
was
let me get
given.
straight. None of you are curious
I'm
as to
sorry.
whether or not we have an investigation of some criminal act regarding sexual abuse at one of our schools, and you guys have zero interest?
We're looking at item number 801, approval of instructional and annual contract recommendations. Mr. Melendez, your light is on. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Wow. You just also listen. Every so often I'll have somebody who comes and says, "Hey, Julius, sometimes he's thinking the right thing. Sometimes, he says the right thing." And I'm like, "Listen, if you're holding out hope for Julius to become a man that has any kind of conviction, who's not concerned with who's concerned with anything other than his career, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. This guy has no conviction. I believe that this guy would sell his child if it meant that somebody could give him a higher political office. I truly believe that. Because anybody who can pander the sexualized materials, while he's got a kid who's about that age, right? He's entering, a certain age, and where those things begin to matter to kids. And he has nothing to say. He's just not a man, in my opinion. He's not a man. He's not a man. He has no conviction. He has no fortitude. I don't even understand how you get that way. I don't understand how you get that way as a man. And these two women, the fact that they have daughters, and they just nothing, no interest in this at all. No interest in this. Blows my mind. It blows my mind. I mean, it's terrible. What else do we have, Tom, on the...
We have at the end, where you call for the resolution.
Oh, okay, so let's go ahead and let's move on to the last thing, and then we'll wrap it up.
How is that fathomable? Did we or did we not try to hire somebody who was arrested for prostitution?
Hold on.
And then send them out the back door after we realized.
So let me set this up. Several months ago, I don't even remember how long ago, several months ago, another little birdie. Listen, here's one thing. I don't have a lot of people who come out in public and say, Arguello, we support you. I have people that come to me in the shadows. They come to me when nobody else is looking. They say, hey, listen, I can never say anything because I don't want to lose my retirement. I can't say, they say things like, I can't listen. I support you 100%. Everything that you're saying is true. I would love to sit down and have coffee and tell you exactly how this happens. I get those all day long, right? I get those all day long. And I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the fact that you guys, I understand that there's a level of fear because we all know that there's retribution in our district. If you do something against somebody who means something to someone else, you're going to suffer retribution and retaliation. That's the way it goes in Osceola County, right? And so I appreciate it when you do stick your neck out and you reach out to me. I've had a lot of people do that, a lot of people at the schools who do that, and I appreciate that. And so a lot of things, like I could be, I'm just minding my own business walking down the street, and somebody will stop me and say, hey, listen, I think that you should ask about an executed warrant at Celebration High School today. Now, is that like a chance by meeting, walking down the street and somebody by chance no, you know what it is? People will hunt me down to find me. They'll hunt me down and find me and come, and because they know that I'm going to take action on that immediately, right? Because the only thing, and here's the thing, if this were an honest district, if this were a district that really cared, if this were a district that did things correctly, if this were a district that were transparent, I wouldn't be behaving this way. What I would be doing is sending emails and setting up polite meetings and asking questions. But when I did that, the first 6 months that I was in office, that I did that, and I'm sending emails and I'm having meetings and I'm talking to people, and they're lying to my face. They're lying to my face. And so then I start calling them out in public at these meetings. Why? Because now you can't hide it. It's no longer, I did it. I did my job. I did my job of oversight, right? I did it. I said it out loud. I told the public that there's a problem here. If the public doesn't care, and if they don't care, and if they just sweep it under the rug, I did my job. I did what I swore I would do when I swore my oath to the community of Osceola County in the state of Florida. So, now background to this, right? So several months ago, the district hired somebody who was arrested for prostitution. And let me preface this by saying this. I'm not passing judgment on this person. Okay? We had a lobbyist who was involved with the illegal sex trade in some way, shape, or form, and they fought for him like they fought for Pace. They fought for him, and they fought for him, and I was like, listen, it just does not look good. It's not good for us. How can we say that our first bullet in the hiring process is good moral character, but we have someone that was involved with the illegal sex trade as a lobbyist who's representing us to the entire world? How does that gel? Well, what happens next? We hire somebody else who got arrested for prostitution. And I again, a little birdie finds me and they say, hey, I think that you should look into this. Well, so the school district hires some guy who was arrested for prostitution. I see somebody comes and tells me, I immediately compose an email, I send it off to the district, and I'm like, hey, this happened here. Is this true? Is this true? Did we just hire somebody for... And what did they do? They sent that guy right out the back door. I don't even think they gave him his ID card yet. They sent him right out the door. So he walked in the front, he walked out the back. As soon as I sniffed that it was happening. And let's play the reel.
How is that fathomable? Did we or did we not try to hire somebody who was arrested for prostitution recently and then send them out the back door after we realized that was happening? Is that fact or not? I'd like to clear up that rumor. If I do a public records request, am I going to find out that is fact or not?
Yes, that is fact.
Okay. So what more do you need to do? Isn't that worthy of an investigation? That's the problem here. This is a cultural issue.
Yes.
That's a cultural issue, right? And every time that we don't put up a big board, right, that we need to. If we're not keeping score, right, and for good reason, because the record of this district would be atrocious, then how will we know? How do we know what we're doing? You just heard that. The two of you ladies, right? I have daughters. You guys are robots. You guys are cold. My God. We're just found out that we're here. We have an issue where someone who was arrested for prostitution was hired into the district, and then because somebody found out, myself, and I shot off a question about it, they got escorted out the back door. Said, oops. He found out.
Wow.
That's the district that we live in.
Wow.
Okay? I mean, what are we doing to rectify that? A retirement is not enough. I mean, it's like, do we really not see what's going on here? I mean, we have Marie Antoinette at the helm.
Madam, do we have any other comments for 24?
Add to the agenda, please, for the next meeting, Dr. Pace's immediate removal.
Motion to adjourn.
She retired by then. Thank you for the claps. Appreciate that. She's retiring by then. She doesn't care. She's out there. The only reason that she didn't lie last night, in my opinion, is because she doesn't care. She's like, yeah, get lost. I'm on my way out. I'm tired of this. I can't. I'm done. I think that finally she is done. But I mean, when I say Marie Antoinette is at the helm of the Osceola County School District, she's not reading the room. She's not reading the room. We have kids that are failing every subject areas. We have more. I was like neck deep in expulsion hearings today, and I have been already. I'm the one that used to do all the expulsion hearings almost, and I'm neck deep. We've had more expulsions now than I think ever before, and so now these because I think that the whole reason that they're also doing expulsion hearings is because they don't want me to know how many expulsion hearings. They don't want me to know what the crimes are or what the charges are that are coming down. I think that's why, right? That's got to be why. So, anyways, these people are going to start doing. They've never done them before. Teresa Castillo has never done them, as far as I know. And now apparently they're going to all do these expulsion hearings. I think it's good. They should. They should. But man, when that first parent comes in there and they're like, hey, you're going to have to give them an answer. You can't sit there and be like clicking your eyelid together and not saying anything, which is what they're best at. But man, when I say these ladies are robots, they really are, aren't they? I can't believe they didn't have anything to say. I can't believe those are some big issues. Those are big issues and they have nothing to say.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
They should be ashamed of themselves, yeah. Well, anyways, Osceola, thank you. God bless you. I appreciate you guys watching. It went a little bit longer. I'm sorry I got a little bit heated. I'm just, you get so frustrated from watching these people do it. It's live. It's like a story, and you wouldn't believe it unless you watched it yourself. So please do me a favor. I've stopped saying it. That share, follow me on Twitter. Okay, now listen. We're gonna have a heart-to-heart here. When I look through my likes on my Facebook page or whatever, my followers or whatever it is, all right, I see a whole bunch of you where it says invited, but you guys are not accepting. Please go into your invitations and look and see if I'm invited. If you're invited, and please accept that invite to like my page. It helps with our promotion. It helps us getting the word out. It helps us fighting the system. It helps us have credibility. It definitely helps. This is not a monetized show, by the way, right? We don't make any money doing this. Hopefully at some point we would. Then wouldn't that be fun? It would be fun if we could just do this all day long. Let's expose all these crooked politicians for who they are.
There's enough news every day.
There's enough news every day. So I mean, but anyways, listen. So we do this because we love getting the information and the news out to you, right? We love the community. That's what this is about. We're doing our part the best way that we can. We're going to continue fighting for you. We're going to continue speaking the truth, but we need for you to help us out. So three things actually. Okay, 3 things. Number 1, accept my invitation to like my page, please, or to follow this school board member, Arguello, Unsanctioned. The one for the district, at some point, I'm going to discontinue. And I'm going to discontinue it because I'm not allowed to say things that I really want to say. So there's not a lot of traction there. I get a lot of followers there and whatever, people are watching me there. But don't watch. The unsanctioned one is the one that you got to watch because it's unsanctioned. Also, we have a new Facebook page. It's just straight up unsanctioned. You'll see our unsanctioned logo there. Please go and like that page because we're going to condense all of our streaming so that we can see how many people are watching. Right now, we'll have 1,000 people watching here, 1,000 people watching here, 1,000 people watching here. And to collect all of that data makes it very difficult for us. So please go and like that. And like my friend Tom, Citizen, go find Tom Lord, Citizen Tom Lord over here. Please.
Tune in tomorrow night.
Yes, tune in tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we have the show. We have a lot of stuff. We're still trying to edit it down to something that's not a marathon. There's some stuff we're gonna hash that out.
Yes.
But please watch us. Please please follow me on Twitter if you'd like on Twitter. If you're on Twitter or on Truth, I have my Truth thing too. I just don't use it that much because nobody likes to work well with Truth because obviously they don't want to support the platform. But anyways, thank you. God bless you. I appreciate you for watching and for staying with us. Any feedback, we would love to have it.